Oh wait, okay, I forgot to push the button. I guess there was some button. I don't know what I did. Okay.
I have to push.
So I guess we were recording that too. So yay, they'll be like me, just going like this. I should just post a whole class. So what we were just sort of reflecting on is that somebody came here and was recording. They did a little news story about this. Not really just kind of about what we're doing here, but also about just language revitalization in general. So some of you are going to Fairbanks on May 20th to 25th, I think, 21 to 24, I think the actual work days. My buddy Deho is going to be there. He's Mohawk. He's amazing. I think Larry Kimura might be there, who's like the godfather of the Hawaiian language movement. He's amazing. Probably 160 participants from 7 different Alaska Native languages. It's very exciting. We're hoping it'll happen annually, but we'll kind of see. In addition, there is an immersion Memorial Day weekend. They'll be hosted by the Alaska Heritage Institute for those of you who might still be here in Juneau. And June 12th through the 29th, if you're down, a week in Teslin, just doing hardcore beginning Tlinkits, a week in Whitehorse, doing hardcore intermediate Tlinkits, a week in Carcross, doing hardcore advanced Tlinkit. So that's going to be super fun. We're still kind of ironing out the details for that. That's the good news. The bad news, there's a bill, or there's a resolution they're trying to push through to urge the governor to declare a state of emergency for a linguistic emergency. And they have taken out the word emergency, and now they are going to take out the word administrative order. So they're really trying to gut the bill. That's happening tomorrow at 8 a.m., 8:15 a.m., room 205. I don't think I'll be there. There's no testimony, but if you can go, glare at people. I don't know what else.
What was the second word they were taking out?
Administrative order.
So what effective change does that have on the intent?
So basically what we're trying to do is get the governor. So the reality is it's really just urging the governor to do it. So it's not really doing anything. We'll probably work with the governor's office and see if he'll do it. But from the standpoint of like the actual legislature of Alaska, one is that it has them on the record saying they don't think it's an emergency. They think it's urgent. And the other thing is, instead of, it went from an administrative and possibly an accompanying executive order that would actually, and so an administrative order and executive order kind of do things to, they just want the governor to say, there's an urgent need for language revitalization. So literally, they only want him to just say those words and not do anything. They being horrible people. So, for the Memorial Day weekend class, I think it's just an immersion event. Or maybe contact Costine, Jill, Meservey at the Alaska Heritage Institute if you're interested in going. It'll probably be, I don't actually know where it'll be.
And that's in May?
Yeah, the 5th-ish, whatever that. Okay, so let's do this. Anybody got anything that I can help you with? Your final projects are next week. You're just going to do some language events. It could be a slideshow that you narrate. It could be a story that you tell, not something that you read at this point. It could be a short skit. It could be something you record and we just watch. I'm up for all kinds of stuff. I want to see what you can do at this point. So you should be just pushing yourself, you know where you're at, and just sort of, we're going to have fun. So, it's not. Sometimes it gets real serious, and sometimes our language has real serious functions. But in terms of just a learning environment, we tend to try and keep it like that.
Could we email you what we have so far for just grammatical help?
Yes. Yeah, feel free to email me stuff if you have in class sort of. I don't want to dedicate a huge chunk of the class to but if you certainly have your stuff and you want me to look at it, I'm definitely happy to look at it. And that would be Tuesday. Next Tuesday, the very last time we're meeting, ever.
No.
They told me I'm being dramatic. You're just being dramatic. No, not. I should have just thrown myself right out of my chair.
Handcuff yourself to the chair.
I don't really want to put a time. Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes would be nice, at least. And so that would be great. And there shouldn't be any English at this point. If you need to throw an English word in there now and then, go ahead. And maybe for inspiration, we'll check out a video real quick while
I'm still not sure I can do it. Singing a song that was written for English.
Any other questions about that stuff?
And the chin singing. Yeah.
Now let me see. What happens if I assign?
The eyes.
I got these new microphones in here. Again, let me know if something's not working with it. I'm going to try and play this video through here and see what happens if it'll play.
Is the oh no, that was a TV show.
Yes, I don't know if I showed this to you or not. So this was Intermediate Tlingit 2013. That long ago. And we just did puppet shows. So we'll watch this, then we'll come back and we'll get back to transit. Translate. Oops. Hold on. It's like trying to chew bubblegum and talk. I don't know. What is it? Walk and drink something out of a bottle at the same time? Can't do it.
I think those two are actually pretty easy. Walking and drinking out of a bottle.
No, one time I just dumped it all over myself.
Oh, really?
Is it just me?
Okay, sorry. I thought that was a bad example.
It's like doing this. Okay.
Right.
Anyways, let's try to click too many things. We'll watch this, and then you can tell me if you know any of the voices on here. Oh, hold on. I guess it doesn't work. Okay, so that tests my theory. If I play it through the speakers, you guys can't hear it. So let me try it through the TV. Sorry about that. Good to know. So back to the beginning.
Cut ear good.
Ach, de woeste guru ich satine, ach, khune.
Yak egg cut ye goody. Let's go, let's go.
Gonna tish.
Wasa ear tea.
Ach, tu wo ya ke, wa ya tu a.
Chut u de kwet. Kanu. I eat gay young uaha.
Gonna change. To Sagu, the cut.
Charge the cut acha ge.
The cut. Sha, Nagu, Kanat, Nak, Chat, Watus, Matus, Yai,
Dwa.
Sa, Un, Uns, Kuch, Akishe, King, Naibi,
Zu achwik ge.
Dasa,
Place dasa.
How.
Chade chut na u. Place at achji.
That's the way, Jiwa.
Dego sakne.
Unda hiri de nach tu art. Dana ge Jiwa.
Craig.
Ske. Agana. Una ge Jiwa.
Dasa we gach kuth un.
Kuzge.
Craig. Kuth tauch kanach na teach.
Sage.
Craig. Idat we eat. Chik klein. Kunach owe.
Janguge.
Craig. Place ade ke chodgudi. Ye washa.
That's the way, gach tu.
Craig haseko. Kwa. Dana da ke kitty de. Nach du atwe. We dana gagan yaketi. Ka ye haseti.
Clank! Plus day at gate quadzigide ye, way bank robbery.
Ach tuasigu flakat dana kua. Flakat dana. Cha at gate. Kas gate de.
Scheidli haj. Ka su ach eat young ha.
And then there's quite a few others, but we'll just check out one. It's fun.
Wish kashashi again.
Chachi ka octet.
Oh, octet.
Okay, let's take a look at. Definitely, yeah. Feel free to send me emails. If you got questions, if you don't get an answer within like a day, just resend it. And yeah, I like to think of these as collaborations. I just want to see a lot of effort on your end, and if there's stuff that you're just really not, because sometimes when you try to think, there's a bunch of things in Tlingit where they don't go together the way you think that they might, and so I think that kind of stuff does happen. So let's go back to our frog story. That was pretty fun. And then we'll do some of the raven and king salmon. Then we'll come back and try and finish our perfective examples. And see where we're at from there. Hopefully we'll have time for the future on Thursday. We'll see. Not in a big hurry.
Oh, so sorry.
So there's a bunch of these books I think I told you guys about. So this was one of maybe 8 of them. And we're just kind of going through and reading them and doing the translations and just spotting things. So I'll read it and you just sort of tell me the translation just so we can keep in touch with the story. Somebody translate that for me.
Girl
Girl?
was in there.
Yeah, well.
The new girl was on Tlingit land.
Yeah, there's a pretty young girl, pretty young woman, however you want to say that. And, shot, yeast shot means she's new, she's pretty young, but old enough to get married. Right? So that's what the shot and yadak, those are certainly acceptable to have boyfriends and girlfriends at that age, right? Shiatahini Kakoe has to us a good to shy, Ko Adatu Yeti has to Kaya Nach Yake. Anybody?
Has to do with the lake, right?
What's that?
Shaya Dahini is like the shore, right? Of
No, Shadahin is lots, especially people. Usually it's people, or it's mostly people. Sometimes it could be living things. It's usually not non-living things because it's like a bunch of heads moving together. Shadahini Kako has to us a good to shy, Ko Adatu Yeti has to Kaya Nach Yake. A lot of men wanted to marry her. She thought she was better than them. Hastu ani dakige we atlain kudzati.
Life on the big lake.
Kudzati means to exist.
Oh, Kudziti.
Right, but yeah, kusti, and it's a tricky one because you could say to live, to, there's two different variations of that verb. One's takes an object, one takes a subject. The object one is like to exist or to be born. The subject one is to like sort of bring yourself to existence or to just live. What is atlain?
High tone. Is that lake?
Yeah. It's a big lake in the middle of the village. Kleidihin ayat du kik tin ya ach ayach de haswu.
walking with her sister.
Yeah, one time. So Kleidihin ayat. So as far as your own storytelling stuff, Kleidihin ayat, one time. Right? That's a really good thing to know how to do, right? Hang out with kids in the village, like one time, right? They say all the time. And then do keek tin with her younger sister, right? If it's a girl, and she has a keek, that's a younger sister. If it's a boy, keek would be a younger brother. Ach ayachte. So this is how you say go into the lake, right? You don't go straight to the lake. You go to the shore. Ayach is a lake shore or a riverside. They use the same word.
And that's the prefix for mouth? Or is it?
Yeah, so it's like, so ha is the mouth, yach is along the edge of something. So that's how Tlingit thinks of bodies of water. And it always separates lakes and rivers from the ocean. You would just say iqte, that would be to the ocean. And so those are some different sort of things. These are just some good things to start sort of putting into your memory banks, how they work. Shedeheni hicht ach ayach hasya waqi. Anybody online want to try that one? Can you? There were lots of frogs around the mouth of the lake. Yep, there were lots of frogs by the lake, in the lake. By the lake is basically ayach would be near the lake, lakeside. There's a bunch of different ways to sort of think about that. But this is another good sort of thing to remember is you could just say by something in English, but in Tlingit, there's a few different ways to be near something or by it. There are lots of frogs. Quack, 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 quack. Ye'awahas atshi. They were singing quack, 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 quack. We decided that's how frogs sing. We did this one, so I'll just walk you guys through it so we can get to the new stuff. Shak shak has ashkawashu. So the pretty girl laughs at them. Gross. You're too ugly. So that's a really not nice thing to say, but if you're trying to construct not nice things, there's one way. Yindeshkau detan ka'ak ayachdach awashat wechicht. Oops, that means I. Yinde shkau detan, she bent over. So that's how you say bent over. The verb root means to be bent. So she bent herself over. Ka and ayach dach. Oops, dach. So you see this ayach can take day or dach. Right, so from the shore, awashat is to grab something or to catch it. So she grabbed this frog from the lakeside and she picked it up. Awakshatat out ya waka.
Said to him.
Yeah, so while looking it right in the eye.
Oh, yeah.
So this wakshatat is like the pupils. That's near your pupils, right? And it's a really weird, it's kind of interesting how pupils and body parts work. But that's, she looked it right in the eye. That's how you'd say, for someone to look. Audiqin. I think that needs an L. Okay. Audiqin. Audiqini yeyawaka. And so it's getting this relational suffix to say, like, while this thing was happening, this other thing happens. So while looking it right in the eye, she said, Kach ayanach awe kesh iyakusan kesh adechich ikwashayiye. Which is
ugly. Not even a frog would
right.
marry
So
you.
remember that. Grammatically, it's complicated. Culturally, it's very inappropriate. So don't ever say anything bad about animals because they're gonna not just take you. They might pluck everybody's eyes out. All kinds of bad things might happen. So tach is really ayanach is like more than that. And we'll see kayanach. We saw kayanach. So like. The kayanach is sort of comparative. So ayanach is just like, it's getting more and more. Akin would be less, so less and more. But you would say like, kayanach chetlitzin, I'm stronger than you, right? So this is also, some of these things are inappropriate, but also I think we got to learn how to kind of tease and talk trash a little bit because we want to play basketball and stuff and do the Arctic Games and Tlingits, right? Although you're not supposed to be bragging.
So the ka and ikayanach, that's for comparison.
Yeah. And then kesh iyakus an is you are. It's a negative form of being attractive. And so, kach ayanach awe kesh iyakus an. That's about as ugly as something can get. So, and then the e is saying you are. So, kesh adehicht ikwasha yeh. Not even a frog would marry you. Itach ka kuch awachich. So, itach would be after that. Ka, onto the lake. Kuch is to return. Awachich, she threw it back onto the lake. Not nice at all. And we got to this part, I think. Wetat yin shtekat yaku'u Yan haswuchechu. Ya yishat atwugut. In the middle of the night. Tatin is in the middle of the night. Shtakat yaku'u, all the people. Ku'u is how you talk about like a group of people. So you could say like Yakdat Ku'u, the Yakutat people. I don't know, Fred Meyer, Yechine Ku'u, the people who work at Fred Meyer. Ach in Yechine Ku'u, the people I work with. So Ku'u is just, it's a people. And the verb really means to reside somewhere, but it could be used for a lot of different things. So all the people were sleeping. Wuchechu is haswuchechu, is they were sleeping. So ta, so you'd say wuta, he or she was sleeping. Haswuchechu, they were sleeping. Right? So this is one of the verbs where the plural one has a different root. Ta and chechu. Yayishat atwugut. Atwugut means to walk around. Right? She went for a walk. She took a walk. Yis ka kagate uwagut. Yis gawu ausatin.
New man came out, or young man.
Yeah, so this kagate uwagut would mean that they encountered each other. That's all it means. But there is this thing on here, gate, which is gay day and gate. And it's a really interesting concept in Tlingit because it means in opposition. And so in some cases, it could be to do something illegal. In other cases, it could mean to disagree, right? So you could say, they're arguing. So wush to gate would mean they are thinking differently. And then they're talking, but they're arguing. That would be, they're disagreeing. Right? But in this case, kagate, and it just means to encounter, right? That means to meet up or whatever. And then when they say yis ka, this young man, kagate uwagut, she's encountered this young man, yis gawu ausatin, which is a really fun.
First time.
Yeah, it's the first time she saw him. So yis gawu would be like new time kind of a thing. And then you just have ausatin. So that would be like, it was the first time she saw him. So that would be, you could probably use that structure on a bunch of different things, right? Yiskawu ayachacha, way kimchi, whatever. It's like the first time I had kimchi, right? Du naati kakashatsini seit kasaye yitsu kawut akaye wuti koatu wakayati. His clothes, an expensive necklace, strange green beads. And I've never tested to see how many you could do, but there's two adjectives. Kasaye, strange, and then tsu is green. A lot of times you're going to have yachyati, so you have kasaye, tsu yachyati, awut.
Do you have to have the e because there's two adjectives? Kasayi or
Yeah, because kasaye is a verb.
yeah.
Kasaye is an adjective.
Okay.
And then there's a few things that are kasaye. Kasaye kanch is marijuana. Papalolo, right? It's strange tobacco. I think it has another word. Someone else gave it a different name. Yeah, probably. And then kasaye gucha is a thermos because it keeps the thing warm, I guess. And then akayewuti, it was on it. So this yeyati or yewuti is just to be somewhere, or to be, ka yewuti. It was there. It was on. It was on. These beads were on the shirt or on his clothes, and also on his necklace. Hu'a, but duwaqayati. It was They look good to her, right? So you could say ahwaqa'iyati if you're trying to, you know, you got to be, I guess, in the future when we're all doing these like language immersion environments, we're gonna be like, hey, here's some pickup lines, right? Ahwaqa'iyati.
It could be a Tlingit dating app.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta like text and be like, that's the wrong classifier. Sorry, bro.
Can I just say, I just texted Aaron to say, like, you called during class, and he said, Hachikwa.
That's awesome. To walk yaksaan. So that to walk would be, and there's a couple of different ways to say like somebody thinks that way or that's what they believe.
He's handsome.
Yeah, so she thought he was handsome. So that to walk takes care of it. Right. And then you got some kind of other thing. Right? Do to walk he or she thought it was yummy. Not me. So another way is Ye'uwaji or Yehwaji, which would be I suspected or believed, but it has a little bit more to do with like kind of theorizing, I think, whereas just to walk is like that's how she felt, right? Then he says, Iqashat ayahat khwagut. So there's, you know, when Ida was talking about these different particles, qah is one of them. And qah can pop up in the front of a verb for a few different sort of things. But in this case, so we have, I came here, so hat khwagut, so I could grab you, right? And so that's what he says. And that could be in the various contexts, that could be kind of creepy. If there was an L classifier, that would be like to imprison you, so that could be really creepy. But it could just mean to come get you, right? It doesn't really mean anything on its own. Like there's nothing there that says it's really kind of scary. But it's sort of like I came here that it would allow me to grab you, basically. That's what that is in there. Iqashat, if you said that on its own, it translates to let me grab you, right? So it's a hortative. Ye'ayaw saqa, that's what he said. Khan nagu ya'ach ish hitide. So this is a command form. Come with me to my father's house. Khan is a contraction of ach'in. Ach'in is with me. And then there's also one that's chat, ach'it, right? So you'll see this in other stories. Someone might say, ach'it deshe. But some people will say, chat deshe. It's the same thing. Ach'in kananik, tell me. Khan kananik, tell me. Ya ach'anik wushkachtu desha. So on my land, or in my village, we're going to get married. So there's a future form, or a prospective, as Ida was calling. Ya yishad dutu yeyati wa yizqa kachonach yaksa'aniqa hechdu yach uchsatinjin. The young girl, dutu yeyati. This is how she felt or thought. Right? Dutu yeyati. That's another good thing to know how to, that's just how they felt at the time, right? And it's like talking to sometimes I'll talk to Kaja, he'll say, I want to go to the mall. And I'll say, Wanachsawe. He says, because I do. So when we put this together, this is how the young girl felt about that man, that young man. So you see, there are certain things that you don't always need. Like in English, that you need to put that about and stuff. You could put it on there. Yahishat tuyeyati wayishadat. But in this case, you see, like, this is from the mouth of a fluent speaker. Right? This is Marge and George. So now we see the positive form of that earlier verb. So kach kunach is like really ramping it up, like really, very, really, really, very. Yiksa'an yaqa, a very handsome man. Heshtu yach uchsatingen. So this is what we call a negative perfective habitual, which is like a big crazy name. But basically the positive form of this would be I see it all the time, right? Like this might be the kid in what's that movie? The Sixth Sense?
I see dead people.
Sense. That's really hard. Something, if there's a TH, I just overthink it. Like clothes. 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 But if we look this verb up and we get teen, to see, we have the S classifier here. Gusteen is saying, see it. And so this isn't really, when we see that S classifier, it's like to have seen it, to behold it, right? It's a little bit different than just seeing. It's a specific type of thing. So what we're looking at right here is we would say, achsetinch. She sees it every time, right? And it's like every single time. So it'd be like, every single time I'm driving down Egan, I see, I don't know what it is, you know, like I see eagles, right? I see eagles by the dump. Right? That would be something you would say. But this is something where the logic is really interesting because you think, oh, well, would the negative be you never see it? No. In this case, when you put the negative form here, it means has not verbed yet.
Oh.
So this is one of those just kind of logical things where just, you know, the never see it is like there's no way I could see it. So it goes down usually to this one, right? Or like, you know, or you would just use a future, right? You just say, Chitech Keshe Aguchsati. She'll never see it.
With this translation project, I'm realizing how hard it is still to see what the root is or the stem is, especially when like teen and that's tench, and it's like, you know, there's, because it's already all in different
Right.
tenses and stuff, then you're like, oh, this could be anything to like I started.
It's part of the process. You know, this is where everybody gets to, but you've got to go into translation so you see the language in its full form. And so it's sort of like you just practice shooting free throws just over and over and over. I'm like, okay, get in the game. And then you're just like, I don't know what's going on. Right? And so it's a kind of a similar thing because you're getting into these whole big sort of, like this originally was like a Head Start project. So this is like for preschoolers. And I'm like, no, this is for the high schoolers, right? We'll do a couple more. Ach tuwasagu dushat chatbusti. I want to be his wife. So ach tuwasagu dushat chatbusti. So you could change this dushat, and now you've got a pattern where you could put anything in. I want to be a baker. Ach tuwasagu saknain wudutza iyich chatbusti. Ach tuwasagu asqewuch chatbusti. I want to be a saner. Ach tuwasagu now tzatich chatbusti. I want to be a hardcore drinker.
How do you say Tlingit speaker?
Ach tuwasagu Tlingit enach yu chatlaatgich chatbusti. So that one is a little long, but we can, let me show you how to say Tlingit speaker. So to say Tlingit speaker, changes. And so again, just sort of coming back over and over to the logic of languages, through the mouth of a human being, speaker. And it's a plural form, right? So that's how you say, like, because this is something that I said to some folks the other day, because we went to tribal assembly, and I said, there are maybe 3 speakers of Tlingit here out of, a couple hundred people.
Mm.
And so these are some things like that's how you say it. Okay, so then they went, I think we did this page. Kende Shaksitan. It's really steep. So, and these are others, like, if you took that verb, it means, Shaksitan means to lean. So it's really leaning upwards, is what it means. Gujet Haskaudu Watet. They crawled up the hill. They crawled up this really steep hill. Ach awe yinde da kasua at kahinde. And so then they came down. Da kasua at would mean they came down away from the hill. So da kasua at could mean they were in the woods and they came out into the open, or they were walking out into a clearing.
Or out to sea.
It could be, but hinde means to walk into the water.
Oh.
So this is why it's good to know that ayah, because then you'd say, because if you say hinde kukwagu, you're like, whoa, we're gonna, and if it's like, January, you might assume you're going to bathe for strength, because that's how people would talk about it. But if you said, ayah de kukwagu, I'm gonna go down by the lake. Hinde always means, in this case, would always mean into the water.
Oh, they weren't looking around them.
Yeah, she wasn't even noticing or seeing what was around her. Right, so this has to do with, like, kind of because in these stories the animals sort of can trick people. That's how people get tricked. Like, you don't even notice what's going on around you. So this could be like too much of the kasi lunch. Could be something like that. Oh, I didn't change that one. Hinde. So chakugei is another, this is an adverb, and it means recklessly, haphazardly, right? So when you say, and this is one that some of the elders use, they'll say, I'm not just talking any old way. I want to be Sagu. Yeah, it's got to have that Tana. It's got to have that underline X on there. So if you said, yeah, Sagu Viking Chatbusti, I want to be a Viking. Duchanatin. Oh wait, I think I got that one. So like, so she didn't even notice what was going on. Right? She didn't even notice, and just walked carelessly into the river. So chakugeyi means carelessly, recklessly, just really loosey-goosey, right? Duchanatin, with her honey, Yayi Shatk, the young girl, Hintade Hasvuat. So that's like they walked way, just like, Tade means towards the bottom of the river or the lake. So they really went underwater. Ha! Oh my. Kaidiginde ya hintaka hasyawaat. They were just walking along on the bottom of the lake. I think we did this one too. Tutat away ya yi shat in ag kashtakatyaku oxetin his atkuste.
Oh yeah.
All of, so in the morning, taught away, setting the time. Yayi shatk, this young girl's. In ag is your family. Kashtakatyaku, and all of the villagers. Oxetin, they all saw. Hesh atkusti, she wasn't there. Right, so that's to not, it also means to not exist, right? So you could just say, she atkusti means she wasn't there, right? And so someone might say something like, wasa sa iPad Tlingit. They might say, Tlashasaya kusti, there's no name for it. Or wasa sa teddy bear Tlingit. Tlashasaya kusti, a name, there's no name for it, it doesn't exist.
So since you're saying the young girl's family, you don't have to say Yayishat Du'in.
You don't.
Okay.
Right? And so whenever you have like some sort of, but it's kind of an optional thing. It's not wrong. In some cases, it's a little, like you'd say, Hashishku has yu chatangi, the language of our grandparents. Wouldn't really say Hashishku has du yu chatangi.
How?
Right? And so in some cases, it's better not to have it there. But sometimes you do if the strings get really long. Like you say, someone says, how are you related? Oh, Akla du ish du tla du shetch du yit awehu. Right, so that's my mother's father's mother's older sister's son. Right, so you could do these long kinship strings, and then you usually want the du in between. But you can also say Akla ish aweh. And you could say, well, in is it's a kinship term. Shtakat yet haskuwashi du iqa. So shtakat yet would mean they went everywhere, right? And shtakat yede is another really interesting thing because it could mean everywhere, but it could mean any way. So you say shtakat yede kaudut lesek we kuhida. Those pencils are all different colors. Haskuwashi would be to go look for. Du iqa for her. Right. So this is how you could say something like, say you ran into someone, you say, iqa I was looking for you. Iqa I'm looking for you right now. Gusu iyit. Hechazagu. Where's your son? I don't know. Maybe we'll go look for him. Tzatqo is another good one to know. It means finally, right? So in the context of this, they look all over, and at long last, tzatqo, and then there's usually some verb or phrase that comes after that. So it means, so this is something people would say, like, people live a long ways from each other, and especially when they get older and they travel a little bit less, and they see one of their friends. Finally, I get to see you. Footprints. They saw footprints. Hinde hasakawake. So this is, they tracked the footprints into the water. Has ausatin kachus ite hinde wutleshu. So wutleshu means to extend, right? So you could say, Gutesa wutleshu we de. Where does this road go to? That's how Tlingit works, right? It's not, the road doesn't go anywhere. It extends someplace. So do footprints and other things like that, right? So you could say, Has ausatin kachus ite hinde wutleshu. So you could translate that probably as, they saw that the footprints led into the water. This is a long, there's a few of these where it's a long verb that's probably hard to pull apart. You know that there's a did is the classifier, so chun, we would assume, would be the root, but then it's got this naql on it, which we'll see in other places. But for now, that verb means to drown. Okay, that means to drown. It's really it's one of these things where it's like there's this really specific verb for that type of thing. And that's probably something that happens when you live near the ocean, because that's something that just happens. Yehas awaji. So now we get this one. Yehas awaji means that's what they came to that conclusion. So yehas awaji means they thought it, they believed it, they theorized it, they suspected it. And so this is also how you can say someone asks you some question about Tlingit, and it's kind of one of these things where you want to give an answer but say you're not too sure. So you could say, where does this clan come from? And you could say, I mean, publicly you don't want to say too much, but in the context of conversations, you might say, Yechwaji, or Yewechwaach, that's how I heard it. Yechwaji means that's what I think, right?
How would you spell that?
So this, you would put underline X, W, A,
Okay.
J, high tone, E. So we see the perfective there. And so you could say, Ye-G, that's what you thought. Ye-G, that's what you suspect, And so this could be also, it doesn't have to be big things as well. So you could say, I'll write that one for each. So, Yehwaji is, you're kind of letting people know that this is what you think. Like, go de Sagu tachuni. Where did our friend go? Yehwaji gande wugu. I think they went to the bathroom. And then Ye'aweh Hu'ach. That's how I heard it. So this is also getting into like unique. That's what. Did you hear? They got a baby. Where ye shot. Ishandain qach dashiyi has awashi. So here we've got qach dashiyi, that's a noun. Has awashi, that's a verb. So one is, and then ishandain is an adverb. So you got three things: the adverb, the noun, the verb. Everybody know what that says? Ishandain qach dashiyi has awashi.
They mourned her. They mourned her.
They mourned her, yes. Any specific?
Or Ishandane's the suffering people.
Yeah, so here's another fun thing. So Dane could go on to verb roots, and it turns it into an adverb. So instead of to verbally, right? So like A is good or well. Yak A. Dane becomes kidane, and that means to do something well, right? Shushkadane or nikdane would be to do something trying to hurt people. Ishandane would be pitifully, to do something with very sad, right? This is usually associated with suffering, sadness, being pitiful. And then you've got qach dashi. What is that part?
The plural
Not a plural.
or possessive?
There's a
I meant possessive.
yeah, there's a possessive marker on there. So this is the thing that belongs to that thing, kind of. And they're kind of relational. They don't always show possession. This one's probably more relational. But I know what qach is.
Not rabbit.
It's not rabbit. What if the rabbit got really sad?
Cry?
Is to cry.
Their tears.
Crying. Da shi means a song about something. Right? So qach da shi is a cry song. So it's a specific thing in Tlingit, like you bring out your cry song at certain moments. And then hasawashi, they sang it. They mournfully sang their cry song. That's how, and so it's always interesting how to unpack this stuff. And there's a whole bunch of different ways to go, which is why sometimes I push back a little bit when people say, oh, they got that wrong when they translated it. I'm like, well, there's so much interpretation. You know, there's a word in Tlingit for, it was in one of the Battle of Sitka stories. Let me see if I could find it. Then we'll take our Gachtusa.
By the way, did you agree with her thesis about the number of zeros and the
Oh, yeah, I agree with what she's saying, and we've talked about it quite a bit. I don't always agree that you need to mark everything that's not there. I understand the sort of logic. At some point, I think there's always a balance between like, and there's multiple sides. There's people who go way out in the deep end, exploring the depths of Tlingit, and especially linguistically, to the point where it's, you know, when I applied to this program in Hilo, I said that they're like, you know, tell us what you know about, you know, linguistics. And I said, well, my friend is a linguist. I'm not, but I keep teasing him that I'm going to write a paper called "Linguists Are Humans Too," because they always talk to me and I never know what they're saying. And then they all laughed really hard and they said, but we're all linguists. I was like, well, yeah. Luckily they didn't reject me, but but I think about that stuff too, because we need that high level up in the stratosphere stuff, because there's so much crazy stuff with Tlingit that we don't want to lose. But then you got to guide people to there, and not everybody's going to want to go up into that atmosphere. But I do think it does help us to see what these little parts are and what they do. And I think the most important thing for you guys to remember, there's an order that these things go in. And then there's two basic types of things. There's things that mean something, and there's things that do something. The things that mean something are like sh and sha and ka. We're like, oh yeah, that's mouth. Oh yeah, that's, you know. And then there's things that do things where they just put the verb into this certain mode. And then qaq'ji is an interpreter. So this came from the Battle of Sitka. So there was a guy who was an interpreter, and they kept talking about him. And he was translating for the Russians and for the Tlingit and for the Sugpiaq people, because they were all converging there. And they all kind of fought with each other. And so that qa'ji is a really interesting thing, because you've got ka in there twice. And so it's like, so you have the ability, or you take the time to understand people. That's really what it means. Qa'ji. So let's take 5 and we'll come back. Maybe we'll do some of the Raven and King Salmon, and then we might end up just sort of moving back to, because we got to get through these 2 stories. Okay. We're back to Yeshkata. So this is Yakhuan Kla, Catherine Mills. I think maybe Thursday we'll listen to her tell this whole story. For now I want to just sort of keep working through it. So you can read the English there just to sort of get us Back up. Yayesh awe nich twugut. At twugut you au satin yat at putan yaqi ka. Data we kle at tu detan. Wasa ush khasane yut yanach yan kakashadut. Kakwa you kakut sawe awat a waits oo. Ka atku a shakik te shakik giwe ke awati. The giwe is another way to sort of say maybe with like a kind of a question mark. And this is how you do things like if you're trying to think of someone, you'd be like, say the ya giwe ye do a sock. That's how you say it. Her name was maybe say the ya. So it's to make a statement, but to just sort of put a little bit of doubt in there, like maybe, perhaps. Akawe sa keqwash ada ye ayau. Akawe sa ye ayau sakawe ta. Chata hadekunis ach. Yats u kuch awe ye idayaka. Kekuchuti. Awe yat ako atester etbus ach. Etsu at butan. Akawe ketsu ye ayanas kich. Chata. Yats uk awe. Tak idayaka. Durch ach. Yanach yankak. Oops. Chaat wuk ak we deki we takua. Durch etbus ach. Wananisa we tach an ke uwa ich. Chat yanach yankak. Yats uk a de idayaka ye. Kedain ki achit. Aka awe tat duchande yut uwa kak. And then it swam towards him. So this is the king salmon. So he finally sort of talks the king salmon into coming. So this is where we left off, the end of page 3. It swam towards him. This is something indigenous languages, I think especially in Alaska, from what I've seen, they just tend to just throw the pronouns around. It's like, well, of course he was swimming. Because or else you'd have to say Raven gets in the water and does the swimming, right? Okay. Who wants to read? Oh wait, I have unstable anyway. Okay. Oh, yak na. There's some internet stability issues in the world. I was saying this too. Kayana, because she wanted to watch movies on the thing. I said, we're not on the internet right now. Later she says, are we on the Netflix now? I was like, Netflix? Okay. Need a reader.
Ushak uhini awe ka kweta.
Okay. So what can we get from that?
Is he asking the king salmon to come out of the water, or like come up out of the water? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's kind of along those lines. And so what is this chush akuhini awe? So we'll deal with this one sort of chunk at a time.
Uhini.
What do we got?
I got ch for just.
Yeah, just.
Uhini and something in the water.
And so here, yeah, so whenever you have ch, and then you have this L by itself, that's a really contracted klesh. right? So that's just you're gonna get that form sometimes, right? Before I was born, right? And so there's certain constructions where it's gonna want and it means that it's going like just negative, right? So just not, and then awe, we know what that is. So we just got to get this akuhini business. So let's go look for heen. No. Oops.
That's not the water?
It's not the water.
Okay.
Right, so when you see that, and so some of the things that might give it away is that akuhini awa. Because you got that that means that there's probably a verb that's coming right after that, right? Because that kait is it's pushing some verb negative. And when we say uhini, it just starts to look a little bit like a verb. But if we go look up the heen as far as being a verb, so we'll go down here to the Tlingit English section of the verb dictionary, go to the H's, make everything bigger. We go up and we see heen, which is to mix with water, to swim underwater. But this is what we're looking for here, is to believe, right? And so there's a couple things that help to sort of show us this. One is uhin, like if for it to go that long, there's a that's kind of buried in there. But this uhin would be, because you can say akahin or atkahin. I believe it, right? Akahin. I don't believe it, right? So the translation where we sort of come up with this is he couldn't believe it, right? He couldn't believe it. I'm like, woo. Tle is then the guchka wait. I find this guchka business. It might be tricky.
I keep wanting to just use the words that I know, like cup, but I know it's not gukak.
Right? Yeah.
Can't believe. Can't believe the salmon did it. Yeah.
This is one where I might have to dig around for exactly how it's working. This guchka. I'll have to listen to it and see. But it's wukak weta. So guchka would be up onto guch. So he couldn't believe it. Then the salmon swam up onto the shore. But I'll look around and see what that. There's a couple parts in this story where, and these are the things like working with Noah and stuff, where sometimes we just get stuck. And she's like, yeah, that's just what that means. And so I'll try and find how that exactly works. The ka part I get, but the guch part I'll have to look around and see. There are some things like kuch, Ku underline X, which is probably where this comes from. Kuch. So kuch means to like come back. Kuch means to run aground. So that's probably what that one is to swim until it like comes up onto the shore, so it runs aground. And again, when you get into these big chunks of oratory, all these things that you just see the complexity of the language in its sort of full form. Okay. I need a reader and just read these 3 lines right there.
Away, yay, ayawat saka, kush kadan, kush kadan, Then he told him kush kadan, which I don't know what that means. Monster,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah, so, let's see.
I looked everywhere. I couldn't find it. Kush da ka is a monster, but that's as close as I could get.
Let's see if I have this one. I don't know if I have this one recorded. Well, it's an expression, and this is one that, yeah, I don't think I have this one in. I'll have to make sure I put this one in there. So this is what we call an interjection. And it means like, oh my, like something, like you just got some really, usually terrible news. Pushkadan. And so this is one, boy, I thought I wrote this down somewhere. But this was, I really like working with Marge, and I really loved working with George, because they would sometimes tell me things like this. It'd say, I just don't hear this anymore. Like someone would say something to my mom, and she would say this. What does that mean? And I was like, oh, well, give me some examples. And then they would give me some examples, and would sort of settle on a translation. But it just means like, oh my goodness. But in a different way, like usually in sort of, and so these are some interesting things, because this is Raven who says it, right? And so he's like, oh my, right? So he's, and so he says this to the king salmon. Oh, I guess I didn't do, let me write this down. Okay, anybody want to read this line? Oops.
Ande hat to the shot.
Okay. Gandhi to the shut.
Grab the pooping salmon.
See, that would be a really good. Yeah, so the Gunde in that form usually means going to the bathroom. So you got Gunde Nagudi is poop, and Gunde, Gunde Atina Hateti, like I need to go to the bathroom. Gunde Kakwagut, I'm going to the bathroom.
No, I had the same thought. I thought it was he remembered fish poop. I was like, I don't know how this fits in the story.
Let's go look up the shot part. So we're going to go down and we find shot. And same thing. So we get ya shot, kaya shot, katla shot. So we're not really getting an answer here. So the next step is to look at the Lear verb list, which is a little bit more comprehensive. We're going to go to the SH section, and we'll see shot, which is to grab. And then we'll see there's awa shot, to de shut, So we sort of get a clue here. To make up your mind, to get someone to change somebody's mind, right? So this is something to follow the advice of something. And then so that gives you kind of a clue, but then there's a bunch of these things in Tlingit where it's like, I guess the interpretation would be, so we have octet to deshet. So it's like, oh my, I need to go to I have to go to the bathroom, and like, this is a sudden decision, right? So what this is telling you is probably the context would be like, something has changed in this situation, and I need to find a bathroom right now. This is what this, and this is like, if you were to say this, it's probably like, I really have to poop right now. This is a very sudden kind of a thing. We'll just say,
You had to poo.
and so what the tu deshet does is like, something has just sort of convinced me, right? So.
Oh.
I realize.
Mm-hmm. That's what he says.
Oh goodness.
Okay, I need a reader for this. Anybody online want to read this one? Okay. Dakanades kakwashi. What do we get from that?
She.
Only thing I could find was for Ganade was that like salmon box.
Oh yes,
So
the dakana without the underline.
Oh, okay.
So there's this really cool thing in Tlingit, where a long time ago it was like nya. It was this real nasally thing. We don't have that sound anymore. And that sound has transformed to nia or yina, or just sometimes na. And it means up in that area. And so it's the ways that it's used is there's a clan Nanya Ayi. Nanya is the area upriver. Sanya is the area down south. Hinya is that area over by the water. And those were three very distinctive areas long time ago, which is why you have Nanya Ayi, Sanya Kwan, Henya Kwan. Sanya Kwan is the southern Tlingit people. Henya Kwan is the Prince of Wales people. Dugana would be Dak Nya, that area out to sea. So if it's not Dak, but instead Dak,
Go into the woods.
I'm going to go up there into the woods, just somewhere up there.
To poop.
Yeah. That's what Raven does, right? So, and then this means first, right? So when you get into like, sudden needs to poop, like there's the order of things does become really important, right? But there are other things too, right? So the way you might use is, kids might say, I want to play. Eat your food first, right? So, and usually we're sequencing things. Like this has to happen first. So first, I'll run up into the woods. So, and kakwashich is, Chich is to run. Kukwashich is a future form for I'm gonna run.
Oh.
Adekukwashich, I'm gonna run there. Adakukwashich, I'm gonna run away from there. Adekukwashich, I'm gonna run around. Right? Okay. Anybody want to read that one? Who hasn't read yet? Oh.
Wait, play Docte Wuji Chich.
What do we got there?
Then he ran to out over there.
Yeah, so dakte would be, so dakte. They're all the same. He ran inland, right? There's a number of different ways we could translate that. So dak is just away from, it doesn't mean like I went to Teslin, right? It just means he went up to the forest. He went up away from the water, and then so these directionals are particularly important because he's trying to get this. He convinces King Salmon to swim up onto the shore. So now he says, "Whoa! I just realized I gotta poop. I'm gonna run up to the woods." And then he ran up to the woods, right? He ran up to the woods, or he ran inland. However we want to translate that. And I'll just let you guys know I don't know what this is. Another one I'm going to try and investigate. I'm not really sure what that one is. But who wants to read this one? Yes, ran inland. Anybody online who hasn't read yet? Gook.
Yeah, Kach, Kaska, Asewege, Jiki,
Sheesh.
Inland from on that verb thing. Feet downstream. Asewege. It, their question ran. I got no clue.
Okay, no, you're right on with it. So this asewege, this is putting a bunch of things together and just saying like totally super maybe, right? So like a super duper maybe. And you only see these types of things really in oratory. You might say kshe. That's how a lot of us would probably do this. But what the big time orators do is they'll say asewege. And it's just saying like maybe this is what, and especially with the Raven stories, you're always kind of, it's so interesting because they always try not to put too much characteristics onto Raven, and so the rest of the sentence will kind of reveal that stuff. So not worrying about the Koch part, and I'll come back and I'll let you guys know what that's doing. So you dak dach. So he went dak day, so dak dach would be coming out of the woods, right? Because the whole story is taking place right there on the beach where the salmon is. You dak dach. So he comes back from the forest. Did we get that part? What is chus? Go find chus. We could probably find it here. So we'll go down to the underline, to the pinched X. Go down to the U. It's a club, right? So the qa part, ye away, yaktushi. So chusqa, whenever you have motion and you say chusqa, that means he ran to get that thing, right? So this is how you go for anything. The qa. And one of the rules of a Tlingit suffix, if it's open, it will always be pretty much always be the opposite of the tone before it. So khusqa, kuhidaqa, right? I went for a pencil, right? So I might say, kahwekakakwagut, I'm gonna go get some coffee. So that's what he went to go get. Yudaktach hach khusqa aweo jahich. So he comes back and maybe he really just ran up there to get a club. But you see, and you gotta really do these super maybes with Raven, or else you're accusing, right? Because then this is just how you gotta talk about Raven. So he comes back to the shore, and we know that dach in this case is back to the ocean, right? Because that's where he's gonna go. But maybe he just ran to get a club. Okay. Who wants to read this one?
Yek awa shat tlewe kus tlean awe ashawa chich weta.
So there should be a bunch of things we can get in there. There might just be one or two things. That might be a little tricky.
Raven caught him and clubbed him.
Yeah. So yek awa shat tlewe kus tlean awa ashawa chich weta. So yek is, what is the yek part?
Does it mean Raven's the one that did the thing?
That would be yech.
Oh, okay.
So yek is one of these directional things, and it means to come down to the water. It's pretty much interchangeable with ik. Yek is to go down from the inland so he comes down to the beach. Awashatle wechus on. There's a bunch of these clays start popping up when they're really sort of just really tying a bunch of actions together. We just got to look at how speakers do that and eventually start sort of figuring out how to use the kle. It means then, but it also can just sort of say all these things are happening sort of at the same time. Awashat is to grab, and there's different ways you could probably interpret it, but awashat wechutz, and I would say that club that he grabbed. So we're talking about the club. On is with it. Away ashawachich. Wait up. So he comes down shore with that club, and then with that club that he grabbed, he clubs the salmon.
Mm.
So yeah, a bunch of stuff to unpack. Okay. Atu sa kakwatu yata ko takukde.
Awedu Jikayanach Kau Sidash Wet
Sheesh. What do we got there? Wait, King's hand. Dujikaya nach kaushadash. That's the magic part right there. So one part we have to figure out.
Killed the king's salmon. Or
He killed it. What is this kaushadash? Let's try and find that one. So we're going to look for a verb. So we're going to look for dash. We go down here, and we get So yadash is heavy, right? So shidash is for a person to be heavy. Yadash is for something to be heavy, right? And so adashli is when you talk about how heavy something is. Like you might say, "Gosh, Cajun, no way, adashli." This is maybe 5 pounds, right? So adashli would translate to pounds usually when we're translating to English. So if shadash is heavy, we come back in, and then we get this du kayanach. We've seen parts of this, like just in the last story we were looking at.
Yanach is more.
Yanach is more.
His hand.
J is hand. The ka part was kind of comparing, like it was something for something. Du jikayanach kaushadash. If we add it together, what might it be?
It was even heavier than him.
So not really heavier than him, because the reason because you could say, Dukayanach kaushadash, that would probably be what's heavier than him. But with the j, what would the j part maybe do in that?
In his hand?
What's that?
Was it like heavy in his hands or?
It's too heavy for him to carry.
Oh,
Right? That's and so that's what the j is doing, right? It's just saying like he can't pick it up, it's too heavy, right? So it's a kind of a combination of things. But there's different ways that you're going to see some of this stuff used. So the j is going to pop up for a lot of different things to talk about, like in this case, like it's just too heavy for him to carry, which is really interesting because instead of sort of tying it to some sort of verb to carry it around, it just says it's too heavy for him.
Oh.
Right? That's how, the king salmon cling. Okay. And a bunch of the stuff it's going to be new stuff for us. We shouldn't be too overwhelmed. And it's also, this is really big, heavy-duty Tlingit. Okay. Anybody want to read? And then if there's a blank here, it's because the narrator takes a break. So usually if they sort of take a pause, we just add a blank line.
Nice.
Where at Cowley at where the Dutch country and city.
Sheesh. Daso ikle kak inachoa. Do we know this one?
Remembered?
Did she?
Is it he remembered?
He remembered. At kaudle yiji at. I don't know if that one. Let me see if I got that in. Cut kaudle yiji. It's an airplane. Oh, I guess I don't have it in. I'll make sure I put this one in there.
Is it it's not,
So this is a noun that comes from a verb. So at wudakin is for something to fly around. At kaudlayich is for things to fly around. At kaudlayiji at would translate as the things that fly around. So generally we can translate at kaudlayiji at to flying things. Sometimes we might think of it as birds. But basically, Tlingit has these kind of categories. Atkatu adi means like land animals, but it literally means the things of the forest. Hintak adi is water animals, the things of the water. At kauta yiji. At is usually referring, the things that fly around. Birds, bats. I don't know where insects go in this whole thing. We gotta do more exploring. And then kayani. Those are the sort of the realms of the natural world in Tlingit.
Is Kukaudliyich, is that the same, is that like the future of that, or?
Yeah.
It's weird how I'll get it in one place. I had creatures of the air or things that fly, but not like, they're not the same.
Yeah, and so this is good practice. And when we do like advanced Tlingit and other things, we'll start really looking at those verb forms so that, and it just takes a lot of practice because in English, verbs don't change like this, but in Tlingit they change really dramatically. But then once you sort of start, when you memorize all those future patterns, then you just start to see them. And then it comes from a perfective verb, right? A kautleyich would be like, it always flies around. Right? At kautleyich, they always fly around. So an example that you could use from this particular verb, you could say, Ichide dach kautleyich awewe awak tauk anach. The geese always fly south for the winter. So, where at kautleyiji, at, let's just say the birds that fly around, the flying things, there's different ways we can, let's just say the flying things, ku'a, and the ku'a doesn't always mean but or however, it just means those are the things that we're really talking about.
Or his grandchildren.
Flying things are his grandchildren. And who is the his in this case? H, right? You want to read this one?
Where did that iyan?
Okay.
And then his grandchildren said.
So yeah, this is so to differentiate, because it's always tough, because especially in the context of a story, there's two things that would signal us that Raven's still doing the talking here. Ye yausaka is singular. Ye hasa yausaka would be they said.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The other thing is Raven's doing everything. So if someone else is going to do something, they're going to, they say they're his grandchildren. So he says to them, right? And so a lot of this is just kind of inferred, but it's like Tlingit front load stuff. We're talking about Raven. So what we would have, like you would say, if they were going to say it, you'd say, so you would name them again. But because you don't, we just default. It's always going to be Raven. And this would apply to all kinds, like if it was Wonder Woman, it would just always be Wonder Woman unless we said it was someone else. Then he says to his grandchildren. Anybody want to read that? Anybody online? Anybody haven't read yet? Yeah. What does that translate to?
Help me.
Y'all help me. Help me. So this is the plural command. Iddishi would be you help me. Chat yiddishi, y'all help me. This is a good command for us to use in class because, like, if I were asking you something, translate this. You could always say chat yiddishi, and then we'd all help.
Oh, it's chat meaning help me with the dish.
right? And that should be low. So chat, yeah, and it could also be roots, right? Like, wait a minute, help the tree roots, right? But eat can become chat.
Ah, you said that before.
And again, you get this with and so these are, some of the people will talk to you about like, oh yeah, there's this high form of Tlingit. This is the high form of Tlingit, is that you use these things like chat, shit. Other things that happen, and sometimes you can make the argument that when you're really just rolling in your Tlingit, it's just flowing, that you use these contractions a little bit more. Hu'a can become hua, right? And you'll see these speakers do these things. You just got to recognize that these things have multiple forms, right? Because they're not really saying, help salmon, right? But because you could say, chat away, has to eat Yiddish. Because then you would have to do the has to eat, right? Do you want to read this one?
Dog. Got to hootie.
Okay. Hey, Doc, got to hootie. The head part is sort of another one of these like, hey, type of things, right? So we'll kind of ignore that because it's part of this command, like you're trying to, and I would put these,
Dog is inland.
Doc is inland.
I know we both look at the poster.
Yeah, wait, yeah, okay. Oh, some people wanted some of those posters. Spoon people. Qatukhut.
They carry it inland, or they carried the fish inland? They took it.
We're kind of getting there. Anybody know what the hoot part is? And we got to get the qatu.
Is the I a possessive marker? Or does it make it something else?
Kind of relational. And so usually it means like these things are happening at the same time, or this thing because of that thing.
Chop it up.
So we've got chop, but then there's also this one, right? And so it's just one of these things where they'll appear a little bit different, and then sometimes you'll get these like, ooh, look, there's to pull something by motor power or by a handle. It's to drag, right?
And you know it's yachut from looking at the qatuchut.
Yeah. So what we've got here, qa, tu, that's got to be hortative, right? The qa and the tu. So,
Maybe.
hey, let's drag this in. Let's drag this up to the shore. Let's drag this inland. Up to the woods, however you want to sort of pull it up here, right? Let's get it up away from the water. Let's get it up towards the woods. Okay. But you want to read this one?
Yegach tudlak aya yachat.
Yegach to dark. Yegach to dark. Oh, whoops. Yegach to dark. There it is.
Tutladak.
Tutladak.
Yegach tutladak aya.
Yeah. Oops. There's a missing tone. So let's go find the dock part. Right. So there's a verb, future form. The fish.
We'll cook it under the fire, the fish.
Yeah, away. Right. So we'll go find the dock just so we can see. to cook in pit under fire. So this is, what is this verb really talking about? This is super Tlingit verb right here. On the Tlingit scale, this is like an 8. So this is something, yeah, no, so barbecue is a little bit different. So there's a different.
They'll, oh,
Go ahead.
they're gonna put it in the ground in the skunk cabbage leaves, then bury it, and then build a fire on top of it.
Yep. So it gets its own verb, right? So this is, you dig a pit, usually just right up at the top of the high tide line or just above the tide line. So you still get some of that salt water that's just sort of in the ground. You dig a pit, you put big rocks in there, you line it with a bunch of skunk cabbage and maybe some ferns and other things. Then you put your fish on there, you put more skunk cabbage and ferns on the top. Then you build a fire on top of that. Right? And if you do this stuff right, the fire cooks down and you've got wonderfully cooked fish. We did this in Huna last year. And so the barbecue, as we look at cooking, barbecue would have its own verb. Seek is the verb root. And that means to cook on top of a fire. Right? So like in Tlingit, like it's built into the verb. So in English, you would just do all this stuff around the verb. Like, hey, let's cook this in a pit and build so you get really descriptive with your whole bunch of different words. But in Tlingit, it just gets its own kind of verb. Once we start, we should just start doing these things, and we'll remember these verbs because it'll be delicious. Okay.
Maybe after Native graduation, because there's planning a fire after.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. I think we're just about out of time.
Tle cadw hadw da chync ian shtijin.
Yeah, ark. We'll get that part on there too.
Aya ak.
Oh, okay. Tle ke cadw waha do da chync ian shtijin aya ark. So there's a bunch of parts in here. Anybody get any of these parts?
It was planted.
Yeah. So planting and digging are the same verb.
Okay.
So yeah.
So they helped him dig it. The grandchildren helped him dig it.
So it's like, oh my, ha. And then do the chunkiyench do jiin. They work together, right? So then with the help of his grandchildren, they dug a pit, a yaak.
I said either to build a fire or be paralyzed with fear.
I'm building a fire.
It's weird how then once you know for sure what the words are that come before it, it makes more sense what
Right.
it probably is, like in context.
Yeah, so ayaak is to fix a fire, right? So and then when we go to this sort of fire, we'll look up this, and then we'll be done. So here's ayaak and shoot out da'ak. And so ayaak would mean like they got the fire, they started getting it ready, right? And so there's shoot out da'ak would be like to make that, to build that fire. And so it's really interesting to think, to start burning it, to burn wood, but then there's these specific kind of verbs to fix a fire, to make a fire, to build a fire, however we want to sort of look at it. But this ayaak would be and fixed a fire. So we'll kind of leave off there. We'll be back on Thursday. I think we'll just try and finish this up and see if you guys have any specific questions while we're going, but certainly feel free to send them to me. Think about your final projects. We'll do this collaboratively, and those will be the sort of two things that we'll kind of end on. So be away. There's Chi Shuhan.
Is the final presentation on?
What's that?
What day is the final presentation on?
Tuesday. Is that right?
May 1st.
Yeah. For those of you in the ANCSA class, I think we go back to back. Boom, boom.
When is our paper
All day
due?
long. What's that?
When is our paper due? That Tuesday?
Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Not this coming Friday, but the following. By the end of that, by the end of finals week.
Okay, and then we're gonna do the maps.
We'll do those on Tuesday.
Oof, duh. That's a lot.
Oh, stretch.